Sometimes when we journal or we meditate or we go to therapy or we do some sort of other healing modality, what we find out about ourselves isn't always pleasant. The things we find out about ourselves could be toxic patterns and behaviors, ways in which we have deeply, deeply hurt other people or ourselves over the years. And it's amazing to find out these things about ourselves because we have to heal them and we have to transform them and reform ourselves to become better people with better relationships, and we have to seek forgiveness and apologize to the people that we need to apologize to, including ourselves. So it can be incredibly helpful to find out how we ourselves have been unhealthy, how we ourselves have been hurtful to others and to ourselves. But what I have noticed often with myself and also with other people who have done the journaling challenges with me or friends that I have talked to is how unkind we can be to ourselves when we find out the things that we have done wrong or the ways in which we have been toxic toward other people. And the word toxic alone is always a word I kind of have a problem with in this instance, because it just lends itself to very deeply self-hating self-talk. But what I mean to say is sometimes when we find out things about ourselves that we don't necessarily like, or ways in which we have been deeply unhealthy and unhealed, we tend to get really uncompassionate, unkind with ourselves, saying things like, "My God, I'm such a horrible person. No one will ever be able to forgive me for this, including myself, and I deserve to be punished for this forever and ever. And how could anyone ever love me again after finding out stuff like this about me? And I just need to be punished until the end of my life for this." It's almost like we tell ourselves that in order to get better, we have to suffer in retaliation for the things that we have done. And we convince ourselves that since what we have done is an unforgivable sin, we'll end up alone and just miserable. And it's almost like we sit there and every piece of information that we get that could contribute to our healing and our betterment is only further confirmation for the self-hatred that we might already have. It's like we sit there and we intensify the hatred we have for ourselves. We're just sitting there and saying, well, I told you were a bad person. See, this is how you're fucked up. This is why you're not deserving of love, like I've been telling you for years. Like this person has been telling you for years. Like this person has been telling you for decades. We just take it as further evidence for why we're a bad person and undeserving of love and attention and support and connection and all the other good things in life. And I think oftentimes we also almost want to find out things like that about ourselves so that we can tell ourselves, see, it's necessary to hate yourself, otherwise you'll never work on yourself. We almost kind of see it as a motivating factor to fuel the self-hatred, subconsciously, of course. And I think oftentimes we're also deeply, deeply afraid of the rejection we might face and the hatred we might face if we show these toxic patterns or unhealthy behaviors to others. If we ask for forgiveness or apologize, we're afraid that we'll be dealt with rather unforgivingly and that we'll be met with a lot of hatred and unforgiveness. And so to kind of preempt that, we tend to just hate on ourselves, not forgive ourselves. We do it before others can do it, so it hurts less when they do it. It's almost like instead of going directly for empowerment by healing something, we put ourselves into further shame and take power out of hating ourselves first, so that no one else has the power to hate us first. We try desperately to get back to a place of empowerment instead of having power taken away from us, and we do it in the most unkind way possible. And oftentimes I think we also punish ourselves before anyone else can do it. So if this sounds like something that you're familiar with, please stick around, because I talk a lot about radical self-love on this channel, and I want you to keep the following in mind the next time something like that happens to you. Instead of saying, "My God, what a horrible person I am. I'm undeserving of love and forgiveness, and I deserve to be punished for this for whatever it is that you have done, try saying, if I keep my childhood trauma in mind, if I keep my adulthood trauma in mind, if I think about the situation where this kind of pattern or behavior was done the first time around, if I truly, truly understand myself, I can see that this was the way I chose to adapt and survive. With the knowledge I had at the moment this pattern was created, this was the only way I saw to survive, to get love, and to get my needs met. This is how I learned to get love and to get my needs met. This is how I adapted to survive. And anyone in my situation, with the background that I have, and the situation that I was in, and the knowledge that I had at this point, could have and would have acted the exact same way. And the knowledge that I have now is better, is greater, and thus I know more and know how to deal with this better. And so instead of punishing myself endlessly for what I have done, I can seek forgiveness from other people and especially from myself. But the most important thing is that now we can take responsibility and do better in the future. And we can heal, and we can learn, and we can transform. We can slowly, and with so much compassion and kindness, start to heal the patterns that we have built to adapt and to survive if they are unhealthy in the situation that we are in now. And I think self-forgiveness, especially in situations like these, comes from the knowledge and the wisdom that our systems were doing everything they could to keep us alive. Our mental, emotional, and physical systems were just doing their best to make the best out of a situation that we had, and to help us get the love that we needed and to get our needs met. And so if our systems were doing their best by adapting these patterns, we can be grateful for them doing that work. That doesn't mean that we're grateful for the way that it went down, or that we don't wish to change it, or that we condone something, or that we don't feel sorry for something, apologize, and try to do better. I'm not saying just forget about what you did and don't try to do better. What I am saying is we can have understanding for the ways that we had to adapt, and we can understand that it came with the intention of survival and getting love. And if we have that understanding, it's much easier to forgive ourselves and forgive the parts of us that had to survive in the way that they had to survive. Understanding is always the first step to love. Always. And so that's, I think, how we should be going about this when we find out things like that about ourselves. Step 1 is always understanding. Step 2 is compassion and kindness. And step 3 is taking responsibility. And through time, naturally, while we heal and transform, we will also find forgiveness. And that's the most important thing, I think. I think another big difference is that if we respond to new knowledge that we gain about ourselves with self-hatred, what we do is that we perpetuate a cycle of deep shame. And shame is not an emotion that leads to transformation or healing at all. I think if we really think about it, shame is not a motivator. It just keeps us stuck in a loop where we might even revert back to the strategies we have used in the past in similar situations. So we might be repeating the unhealthy patterns that we actually want to change instead of transforming. We might just keep confirming to ourselves how much we hate ourselves and how much it's unforgivable what we've done and so forth. Versus the second option of responding with radical self-love and radical self-understanding and radical compassion with loving kindness is something that actually motivates us to take responsibility and do better. And I think what truly contributes to that is that loving kindness toward ourselves is something that creates a very safe space for us to actually express everything, to actually look at the reality of what we have done, look at the reality of the current situation, and look at the reality of what we have to do better. And that safe space is what cultivates a healing space and what allows for transformation. So with these thoughts in mind, let me know what you're thinking in the comments down below. Let me know how you're doing. And just please remember to be kind to yourselves Remember to be understanding and to take responsibility. There is no need to put ourselves down or to eternally punish ourselves and to hate ourselves forever for the things that we have done to survive and to get our needs met. You deserve the world, no matter what you have done, and you deserve love, no matter what you have done. And you deserve healing, and you deserve compassion, and for someone to look at you lovingly. So why not be that someone that gives you exactly that? And with that in mind, I hope you will have a great week. I hope you're well, and I hope you're taking care of yourselves, and I'll see you soon. Bye.